how did you came up with the idea for I Could Never? And what point did you realize that you it was telling a bigger story that you originally intended?
So I Could Never was a song that actually came to be even before Over Me, the song that I had the chance to perform at Dora this year, or should I say, yeah, this year. And
Yeah.
it was in the weirdest place. I was waiting for my girlfriend while she was having her nails done, and I was in the car. She told me it's going to be super quick, like an hour at most, and I found myself, in that car. It was the sun was setting and it was so hot and I had nothing to do. So I realized, it could be doom scrolling on TikTok or I can write a song. So I decided, let me just take the inspiration. I actually used a pen and paper to write it because I was playing the instrumental from my phone and I couldn't multitask. So
Yeah.
the song actually came to be about the topic about the little things. It's about falling in love with the moments in a relationship, not just the big moments, but the smaller ones. And it really came as almost like a gift. Like when I was writing it, I knew like this song is for her. And as songwriters and artists in general, it's really difficult to create something when it's not honest. So for me to be inspired by such a tiny moment in our lives really felt like a gift to her. So I was very happy that eventually I would be able to tell her, I wrote this song for you because it really came from a really honest and earnest moment in our lives.
That's so beautiful. And you told me that you wrote the lyrics in your car entirely on paper. How
Yeah.
did that I would call analog process influence the emotional depth of the final result?
Writing, I think today is something that a lot of people play around with in different versions. So some people prefer to write on pen and paper. Some people like to use their laptops, their phones. I think it really does boil down to what you find is the most honest approach to your work. So I know when I'm writing on my phone, I'm giving myself space to explore. But when I choose to go like the more analog way, I know it's something that already exists. Like the lyrics are there. And because I prefer to write with a pen, that means that what I write down has to be final. Because I have that little OCD moment where I don't like scratches on my on my
I'm
paper.
the
So
same.
right, so when I write it, that's the final thing. Like I'm not gonna scratch it off and rewrite the phrase. So it really, I put myself in a position where I said, what I write has to be the final version of the song, and the final draft of the song is exactly how you hear it now in the
Wow.
master version. So the first lyrics that I ever wrote are the ones that you can hear in the master.
And there's a strong sense of, I would say, vulnerability throughout the track. Was there ever a moment that you considered holding something back instead of sharing it so openly? Because you can see that the song is so humble, it's so truth.
It's usually a very convoluted conversation that you have to have with yourself when you're exposing your emotions on a track, and in general when you're exposing yourself to a wider audience. I'm a person that likes to keep their private life very private. Like I don't like to
Yeah,
mix the performer, the public persona with the private persona. So for me to make a song that really shows the audience who I am in my private life and who I share my time with and how I spend my days. And I think this is a very, it almost feels like opening my diary on that one page and just showing
wow,
everyone, which
yeah.
was very contrary to who I am privately. So it was a big step, but I only did it because I knew it was the right step to do. So it's almost a moment where the private and the public, almost clash, and
Come
they're like,
together, yeah.
yeah, it's like it's two separate lines that at one point merge, and that's like their natural like journey. Like in that moment there
Journey.
is no difference between the private and the public.
And which artists, because I'm so curious, I really love your song. Which artists and songs have inspired you most lately? And have any of them influenced your songwriting process?
Absolutely. A lot of the artists that I listen to really inspire me because in many ways, as much as I love the newer sounds and the way artistry is being developed now, I do think
Yeah.
that one thing that is very, very peculiar about music from like the 80s and 90s is the storytelling aspect. I'm a huge
Yes.
fan of Italian music, and I always say that
Oh,
Italians will not say as they will not make a song unless it has a story in it. Especially like Sal da Vinci with his song "Per sempre sì" at Eurovision this year.
yes.
So I'm singing this song. I think on Sunday I'm gonna perform it as part of a set that I'm doing, and I'm learning the lyrics.
Oh,
And it's not even a song. It looks like a like a theatrical monologue. So it is
it
about
is a
writing.
theatrical. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, artists like, for example, newly discovered for me at the start of this year was Sal da Vinci, Lucio Dalla, Forever, Queen, David Bowie. It's the I always say my music is more theatrical. I want to do like storytelling, so those would be the artists that really influence the way I perform and the way I write.
And speaking about theatricality,
Yeah,
would you like to represent Croatia in the Eurovision? And
absolutely.
how the contest? How do you think? What do you think about the contest?
I love Eurovision because I think it's something that gives. So for me, Eurovision is not so much about the nation as it is about the artist. I think
Yeah.
we should represent our country as best as we can. But the thing that makes music special is the fact that every artist has something of their own. That's why when people ask me, should you sing in your own language or in English, I always say you sing in the language that represents you because you are the
Yeah, the
product.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, you're the product of your country. So for example, I was born and raised in Croatia, but a lot of my music influence is in English. So for me, it's only natural to make a song in English. And I think that's okay.
Sure.
Like everyone should represent themselves because they themselves are representing the country. I would love to represent Croatia because I think that I have something different that Croatia still has not had the chance to show. And
I agree.
I thank you. I appreciate that. Because my vision is, I think every artist has something to, something to bring. My visions are always very big and very complex. And in regards to your vision, it would be a unique opportunity to show Europe that we have so much more. And I think we've been doing that lately in the last 5 years. We've been showing Europe that we have so much, and only recently have we been given the chance to showcase that on a world stage.
And speaking from the past to the future, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, honestly, the most honest answer is I have no idea, because I think life doesn't give me what I want; it gives me what I need. And it's always been me aiming for one thing and then getting somewhere that is completely different, but just as good as what I wanted. It's always like a desired path versus the path that you need to be on. But honestly, I'm going to be super, super transparent. I plan on seeing myself on the biggest stages that I can find. When I was very, very little, my mom told me, aim for the moon and you'll reach the stars. So I'm always
That's
working
true.
as if tomorrow I'm going to end up on the biggest stage. And that's what I'm working towards with the music that I'm writing and the way I'm rehearsing and just the way I'm treating life. I'm almost planning for the world's biggest stages because I know I want to perform there, and that's the plan.
I love that you're manifesting. So keep that
Yeah,
high.
some people
So
may say that. Yeah.
yeah, I do believe and I do manifest a lot. So I know what you're telling
That's
about.
yeah, I agree completely with you. It's ridiculous to say it, but you have to treat yourself the way you want to be treated in terms of everything. If you believe that, you always
Yeah,
have to be the one that believes. No one else is going to believe it for you. That's your job. So if you treat yourself as the person that you want to be, you will become that person.
that's true. I only have one more question. What can your fans expect from your next chapter? And are there any sounds, any themes, any particular stories that you want to explore?
So I'm still in a process of defining myself in a way. And
Okay.
I've recently had this introspective moment where I realized that because I love music in so many different ways, I will have to divide um, the visions of myself. Because I love pop. I would die for pop because I love that genre, but I also love rock and metal. I think I'm gonna have to divide them into personas, and maybe
Okay.
just give an alter ego a name to divide the chapters. Before the end of summer, my fans can expect almost 6 new songs, because
Wow,
I'm doing
that's
three
good.
Italian songs in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 3 Italian songs in the next 2 weeks, and then before the end of summer, I'm finishing summer with 3 songs in English that are going to be more like pop, early 2000s, that kind of vibe, that kind of sound. And then autumn, so let's say end of October, I'm preparing a metal album that's going to be more dark, more aggressive, a little bit of everything. So that's when I'm saying, I'm going to have to divide the two Devons, because they're going to be so different, but they're going to complement each other very well.
I'm very excited to listen to the Italian songs because I do speak Italian and I love Italy. So
Perfect,
I'm
perfect.
very
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah. I mean, actually, 2 of them are in Italian, and one of them is in a dialect that's spoken here in Croatia. So right now I'm in Rijeka,
Oh,
and Rijeka in Italian is called Fiume. And
human.
Fiumano is a Croatian dialect that is very, it's mixed. It's like almost Italian, but spoken in Croatian. So it doesn't
Oh,
have certain
wow.
sounds. And this song was written for a festival that's being held here. So it's in Italian, but it doesn't sound completely Italian. So that's a song for a festival. And then 2 more in actual Italian. That's going to be like a small EP for the start of summer.
Now I have to follow you everywhere. So I mean, I'm super excited. I'm like, oh my god, I wasn't expecting this. You're super nice, and I'm very
Thank you.
excited. You seem to know what you really want with your career. You know.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that's the more I rehearse, the more I practice, the more I envision, and the more I write, I almost see what I need to do to get where I want. But at the end of the day, for me, it's all about the show. It's all about the storytelling. So it's never been a marathon, to get where I want.
Yeah.
It's about creating what I want. And one thing I realized in the last 5 years of making music is I realized I'm almost, I'm leaving seeds behind me, and I want to grow a forest before my time on earth is done, with all the
Yeah.
music and the stories that I can leave. Because with technology developing so much, it's going to be a wonderful thing to look back in like 40 years and to see all the stories that I get to create, that people later on in the history and the future of the world will be able to enjoy long after I'm gone.